Welcome to today's episode of How the Game Was Won. Today we're looking at a game played on the 21st of October 2015 between Hracek with the white pieces and Yu with the black pieces. And we're skipping all the way ahead to what is a classic, effectively barreling down to a classic king and pawn endgame. And this is a brilliant endgame study. And as you can see here, it's black has 2 pawns versus white's 1 pawn. However, the effective defense for white would be to exchange of queens, exchange of his 1 pawn for one of black's 1 pawns, and ensure that he achieves the opposition so that the black king cannot get down in front of the pawn and shepherd it all the way through to the queening square. So with that done and said, let's have a look at how the game progressed. Black played f5 here, and what must be taken into account here is this is what the what white's effective only option is to play king f3 in this position, because then after king f3 you've got queen takes f4 check, king takes f4, f takes in g4, king takes in g4, and in the process of playing the king taking on g4, white achieves the opposition. And bearing in mind that when you talk about achieving the opposition is that the situation that you've got here where you've got the 2 kings with 1 square separating them. It could be at a diagonal, or it could be vertically, it could be horizontally. But the king that moves into the position of the opposition is effectively the king that is said to be achieving the opposition. And what is important here is that white here is the defending king. And if the defending king moves into a position of achieving the opposition, that effectively gives you a book draw in king and pawn endgames. If it's black moving into the position to achieve the opposition, then it'll be, the advantage will be to black. So here white has moved into the position of achieving the opposition, advantage to white. Because by achieving the opposition, white effectively prevents the black king from getting to the key squares of f4, f5, so g5, f5, and e5. Because the black king wants to get to one of those squares, because then he'd be able to play a waiting move of f6 should the white king get into the opposition, which will then force the white king out of opposition, and the black king would be able to then move into the position of the opposition. So, because now after the king takes on g4, by way of example, you'd be able to have getting back to the position at hand. Instead of doing that, black played queen d6 check, and this is the critical mistake that white played in the game and effectively gave the game to black on a platter, which allowed king h7, queen d7, queen takes in g4, and the win might involve some effort, but considering the match situation and how things change in just one move, you can safely say that a player of Yu's caliber at 27-21 ELO, it should be a question of pure mechanics. You've got king f2, queen f4 with check, king g2, king g6, queen c8, queen e4 check, king f2, f4, Queen G8 check, King F6, Queen D8. Now bearing in mind, in your queen and pawn endgame, white's pawn is gone and black has the 2 pawns here. King F5, Queen C8 check, Queen E6, Queen C2 check, King G5, King G2, and F3. And in this position, with the black king or the black queen effectively able to come down and protect the pawn. Say for instance, for argument's sake, if white had to be taking the pawn, black would be able to come in and play check, which would then be hitting the queen down on c2, which would force white to exchange queens on the f5 square, and by exchanging queens in the f5 square, black would then be placing his queen in front of the pawn, and by having his king in front of the pawn, he'd be able to really effectively shepherd that pawn all the way down to f1, queening, and win the game. So with that being the position as it is here, Hracek resigned, Yu picks up the win, and that is effectively how the game was won. Feel free to share this video out amongst all of your chess friends. Give me a thumbs up if you like this type of content, thumbs down if not. That'll help me produce better video content for you in the future going ahead. Also, remember that you can, if you're viewing this video on the YouTube channel, down below the viewing screen is a big red subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. That way you stay subscribed to my channel for all the new content that comes out on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. Very importantly, if you have any comments, questions or criticism, post those in the comment section down below the video as well. Until we meet next time for another episode of How the Game Was Won, stay carved up for the win out there. I'll see you then. Cheers.